October of 2022, we notified the board that the strategic planning team was embarking on the task of updating the CNYRTA mission and value statements and establishing a vision statement. So October of 2022 is now, so we are ready to bring to you our mission, vision, and values. I'm very excited about this.
I bet you from this on your face.
So, as you know, the strategic planning team works on developing strategy, goals, initiatives, targets, performance measures, those components that make up the strategic plan or the roadmap that actually helps the organization to achieve its mission, realize its vision, and holding true to its values. Through strategic planning activities between 2019 and 2022, we realized that the core components of the CNYRTA, those mission, vision, and values, would benefit from some updates. So we started a process to go through and actually really get down to, I guess, I don't know what the best word would say, like down and dirty, I guess, to the beginning of what we wanted to do to establish the mission, vision, and values. And I'm going to actually turn it over to Chris, and he's going to kind of go through what we did and where we ended up.
Thank you, Susanna. First and foremost, I want to really put our brain power together to look at how we wanted to tackle this, how we wanted to make sure that, you know, we were gathering all data and getting the information. We went to the employees, to the frontline employees, and did a survey to get this. So the team collectively came together. You know, we had some very good productive meetings. We had some meetings where we disagreed, but, you know, through the process and conversation, we got to a consensus that we're going to present to you guys today. So certainly, as Susanna alluded to and talked about, you know, it's definitely time for a mission statement update. You know, we just celebrated our 50th anniversary. We're now like 52 years. Our current mission statement is pretty lengthy, and I'm sure if anybody asks, you have your year in review book and your plan in front of you. It is in there. That essentially talks about we're responsible for providing transportation to Central New York that's safe, reliable, convenient, while maximizing the taxpayer's return on investment. What does that mean? What does that mean as an employee of the authority? What does that mean as a customer to the authority? There's a lot of buzzwords in there, but it doesn't really spell out what we're here and what we want to accomplish with our mission, vision, and values. So the group of the senior management got together to determine what is our future direction? Where do we want to take the next 50 years of Centro to really becoming more modern? So, you know, we decided that we were going to do some solicitation and get feedback from all employees. We issued a survey to the entire authority, all 4 counties, all employees, frontline, senior management, to respond to this survey to get the feedback. And then from there, we would formulate the responses for the new mission, vision, values. So on the screen in front of you are the top 5 words, key words that we received from the survey. So 58% of all the surveys we received for the mission and values included the word community. 56 included safety, 35 included reliable, 29% included teamwork, 24% included accountability. So as a team, now we got back together and said, okay, these are the responses we received. How do we want to update our mission and vision, or mission and values, and create a vision statement that's going to hold true and have some longevity? You know, our goal with this was to unite our workforce in a forward-looking, focused, and understandable direction. So when we got together, the first thing we did was let's tackle our mission statement. So, you know, certainly looking at our mission to be a driving force moving communities forward. And, you know, as we've talked about certainly in the last couple of years and some of the conversations we're having around this table, we're talking about mobility options. We're talking about doing more than being just a bus company. So we really wanted to make sure that we were opening that up to being more than a bus company, you know, that we're a vital part of the community that we serve, and we're a pillar to progress in this community. You know, as we continue to provide better transportation services, we continue to move our communities forward. So then we said, okay, let's move on to our vision statement. So our vision statement really tackling mobility solutions that help people achieve more. And that continues to build on being more than a bus company with the mobility solutions, the on-demand, the BRT, the system redesign. That really hones into what we want to do, the bike and scooter share, those tools in our toolbox. We move the communities forward by raising the quality of life of our community members. And if we can provide better mobility solutions, and we've talked about it, a rising tide raises all boats. So if we can provide better opportunities and better service to the community, get them to work, get them to doctor's appointments, get them to social events, in the long run, we hope to raise the community that we serve, that we're part of, that we live in, to really help not only our own employees, but also the community we serve to achieve more.
I'd like to make a comment on, I'm not a big fan of lengthy mission statements and mission statements. The only reason why I say that is because I've been through these exercises. I know Tony has, and if Monty was here, he was doing the same thing, just because of the world we live. When you start wordsmithing these things, okay, it just gets, it gets going. And then you create these statements where you don't really remember what the hell the statement is, when you should remember it. So when you're in the elevator and somebody was asking, so what's your mission statement? Hold on a minute, let me get the 3D binder out and I'll read it. Okay? So I do appreciate a more direct, not as lengthy mission statement, so you actually remember what the statement is. Enough said.
And that was one of the key components that we wanted to achieve with the group conversation. It goes back and forth. When you're talking to a driver, when you're talking to a mechanic, and you're talking to a salaried employee or an admin employee, what is your mission statement? To be a driving force moving the community forward. You get it, you know what it means, it makes sense. So then we moved into our value statement, and right now we have a value statement list. It's about 12 items. They're all internal facing values. So it's making sure that we're valuing our employees, which is certainly part of what we want to do, continue to accomplish. But we also wanted to make these values being public facing as well. We're looking for certain things on both sides for the values. So the first one was respect, and these are in no particular order of importance. They're all very important in their own respect, depending on the topic. So respect, dignity and kindness always. And certainly as we work in the public mind thought and holding respect, we need to respect each other on a daily basis. Whether we respect each other as employees, we respect each other as the customer and the employee, and making sure our customers are respecting our employees. We may sit at the table and we may disagree. We may be, I'm an Eagles fan. I know there are probably some Cowboys fans here at the table. We may disagree on a Sunday night football game, but Monday morning we have a job to do, and we're going to continue to move forward. And I respect the Cowboy fans, but we have a job to do. We have to move forward from that. We respect each other in our decisions, and continue to be kind to each other through that process. Integrity, do good, be good. Certainly making sure that everybody is doing the right thing, whether somebody's watching or not. Coming to work every day, we understand there's rules and regulations that we set forth as a company for all employees, and that everybody is held to the same standard. We also have an expectation for our customers to do the right thing when they're riding our buses, when they're on our property, when they're interacting with employees. Safety, this is everyone's responsibility. If you see something, say something. If there's something that doesn't make sense, if you see something while you're walking through the garage, draw it to somebody's attention to make sure we can get it fixed. We certainly want all of our employees and all of our guests that visit the authority and ride our buses to arrive and leave in the same manner at which they got up in that morning. So safety is a very key important item to what we wanted to make sure was valued. Excellence, holding ourselves to the highest standard. Now, I don't think anybody woke up this morning saying, I'm going to be mediocre today, and that's okay. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but we want to make sure that everybody that comes here holds themselves to the highest standard, that we are going to continue to provide the best service possible. And we certainly understand there's days we're not going to be the best, but we're going to give the best we can to get through that process. So holding excellence to the highest standard. And then service, passion for the community. Why are we all here? We're here for service to the community. We're not going to, public transit is not providing a tangible item like you would when you're in the service industry as you think about it. I go to a restaurant, I order food, I get a meal. Here, we're providing a service that gives the community an option to get from A to B, to get to those doctor's appointments, to get to those, to work, to get to their social events, to interact and be part of the community. So we're here for service, but that passion for the community to continue to thrive and achieve more. These principles are what we created to really hold ourselves to the highest standard in our daily effort to deliver the mobility solutions that we've put together. And kind of out of creating these, which was unintentional, but when you look at it and see what we've put together, if we can hold these values to what we hold them to, Centro rises. And that was unintentional in the process. Caitlin and her team kind of looked at it and it spelled out rises, and we thought, how could you not, So we really liked the way this came together. The team worked excellent to get through this process. The feedback from the employees, we did do a rollout back to the employees to say, here's what we collected, here's what we came up with. We held multiple sessions over 2 weeks in all of our counties and all of our properties, gathered some feedback. The overall consensus is we are on the right track. So this is where we're coming back to the team. Go ahead.
The one word that I like a lot under service is a word that I've been using more than ever, is passion. That is, I love that word, because you don't have the passion, there's a lot of other problems you have. You don't have it. That is I love that word.
So, just to reference the line here, so certainly looking at our mission statement, what do we do? When somebody says, what are we doing? Then the vision statement, that gives us that why. Why do you do that? Why are you doing what you do? Given that impact, and then our value statements is how are we going to conduct ourselves to achieve this? And it's really the overarching, you have the vision statement supported by the vision, supported by the values. So from here, our next steps would be, once it's adopted and approved by you folks here today, we will start revamping our strategic plan. And I know I'm stealing a little bit of your thunder on that, and you can elaborate further, but those would be the next steps that now we can build off of that to create those goals, those pillars, and really hone in on some of the other responses. Certainly safety's here, community's here, but reliability falls into some of those values, being excellence, integrity, respect, accountability is in there, but those other responses we received from the survey will start becoming more relevant in the strategic plan as we establish those goals. So from there, unless there's any questions specific on this, go ahead, Julie.
One thing I was looking about the mission statement, is it possible downstairs we could have a plaque with mission statement on it for the employee who come in?
Yes.
Yeah, so the mission statement is posted around all of our facilities right now. We will be updating it and it will be visible. Same thing with the vision and value statements as well.
Any other questions specific to this part?
Not a question, just to, as you think about your marketing, don't lose the Central Rises part.
Okay.
Even if you say, Central Rises win. You know what I mean? I think that's a nice catch that ties it all together.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
And again, I guess I want to open it up to the team. If there's anything you guys want to inform the board on or talk about, if I missed, you guys were a big part of this, so I don't want to take all the credit or do all the speaking.
You've done great.
I've done this a few times, so I kind of ad-libbed a lot of what their statements were in the process to add and make sure we got it.
I like it because it's real, but you can understand it. And sometimes I've been around these things, but they make it so damn complicated. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Simple. Who are we?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Right.
Okay.
You said one word is that you can agree not to agree. What's that word? You may disagree on a lot of things.
Sure.
But don't do it like you're gonna call somebody out of their name and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
And that's for the respect and making sure that we hold that, we hold each other. We're here to work together. We're here for the bigger, that bigger issue, focus is that service and passion for the community. Why are we here? We're here for the community. You guys are here for the community. You take your time to come here every month. And we certainly respect that and appreciate that. And we do that and hopefully carry that through from the top all the way down to our frontline employees.
So I just want to say that I am, again, very excited that we are here and
See
presenting
it on
this
your
today.
face.
It has been quite a journey to get here. Yes, we did an outreach to all of our employees, all of our facilities, but we did a lot of internal exercises and activities as well as on the strategic planning team to get to that point. So I do also want to just thank everybody that was involved in that process, because it was an interesting process, a learning experience for I think all of us, and I'm really actually very happy with what we ended up with. Our old mission statement was actually a little bit of all of these, I think, kind of combined into one really long paragraph that loses everybody. So I think I'm very confident in what we ended up with, and I think it's going to be a very great set of core components to then actually get some really good strategic planning moving off of this. And again, so what I need today is I need the board to actually adopt these. So under New York State Public Authorities Law, section 2824A is the requirement that the board of members adopt a mission statement and performance measures for the authority. This was last done back in 2010, March of 2010 was the last time this was done. But when it was done in 2010, it was the mission statement that was originally created in 1994. So we are actually updating these from the 1994 statement today, which is very exciting. So what I need for the board to do is I need a motion to adopt the updated mission, vision, and values.
Motion.
Yeah, okay, so. Luella,
Second.
second?
Second.
Yeah. So moved.
Okay.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Cool.
I think you guys did a wonderful job. It's exciting looking at looking at it and hoping for the impact, looking towards the impact it's going to make as we move forward.
And I hope also like this, and I'll take this with me at my meetings and stuff like that, and to express to them what Central is all about. Because they know Central taking them around, but they're not doing the everyday thing you're doing, you don't understand. So they'll be expressing this to them, maybe at the next meeting, we can have a few minutes at the meetings and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Absolutely. So that's great. So what we're going to do next, now that this is ready to go, we are going to continue with our strategic planning activities. Obviously, all of our strategic initiatives that we work on need to align with our mission, vision, and values. Right now that we have our updated mission, vision, and values, we're going to go back to the table and begin the task of putting those core components into action through strategic planning and road mapping activities. So that process is going to include many activities, including assessing our strategies, prioritizing goals, initiatives, defining milestones, all the typical activities we would do in our strategic planning meetings. We're scheduled to start that in early September, and we'll have updates for you as we go through that process. So the strategic plan document is actually in the document you have on the table today. Next year, the goal is for it to look a little bit different and updated with the new information. The other thing that will happen when we are done with that process, the section 2824A does require that the board adopt the mission statement. It also requires that the board adopt performance measures. We did not update those yet. We will have updated performance measures for you to adopt in the near future, hopefully. Any other questions about the strategic plan, mission, vision, values, anything of that nature?
No, great job.
Fantastic.
Good stuff.
Wonderful. Okay, I actually have one other thing today that I need from the board. Under the internal control program, we do routine evaluations over our processes, procedures for our review plan. Recently, we conducted a review over our record retention policies under our document control part of the program. And we discovered some improvements, some areas and things that we could do there. So we created an action plan to address those items. Under that action plan, actually the internal control department is actually taking the lead on that particular plan. And we need the board to adopt a record retention schedule in order for us to continue moving forward in our development of a records management program. So the legislation that requires us to do this is actually the New York State Codes of Rules and Regulation, Title 8 designates what the responsibilities of a records management officer are. And then the actual legislation that supports why we have to adopt this schedule is the Article 57A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law. It was an interesting kind of exercise to go through and find out exactly where that was. But the New York State Archives is actually what governs our record retention schedules, different things that we might need to keep, formats we need to keep them in. And historically, we have not adopted this schedule, so we need to do that in order to continue moving forward in developing our procedures for record retention. So I just need a motion for the board to adopt the retention schedule.
One question I have, are things changing because how much stuff is kept now electronically?
Yeah, yes, so there are a lot of changes coming through this particular
Because
schedule.
like, years ago when you had files, you just purge it, you dump it.
Yeah.
So, but even with electronic records, you'll be purging that and dumping that at some point too?
Yes, because even eventually electronic records take up a lot of electronic
Right.
storage space as well too.
Okay.
So yeah, the retention schedule specifically speaks to how long you must retain certain records, but the records management program will cover all of the different, we'll set policy for how we're going to approach electronic storage, different storage methods, you know, if we're going to do records, like a records management software option, all of those things we're gonna look further into when we're developing the records management program. But in order to get started, we do need to adopt this specific schedule that sets, okay, since this particular type of record needs to be kept for this many years. There are additional policies and guidelines that the New York State Archives has regarding, okay, how should you store these particular types of records? If you have this type of storage, how should you control access to it? So we're moving forward with those types of items, but we just need this particular thing adopted.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll need a motion to forward the resolution.
So moved.
Smooth, Julius, second,
I'll second.
Anthony.
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Okay, nice job.
Thank you. I don't have anything else for you today. I will have some updates on the RPM program the next time you see me in governance, but I don't know exactly what month that will be yet, so
Okay, now,
more to come on that.
are there any questions for Susanna?
Good job.
That was a great job, and I loved it.
Great job.
Thank you for your presentation, Susanna. This concludes the governance meeting.
Okay.
Keep that cheerfulness on your face, but it really spreads, you know.
We'll take a couple minutes, just wait till. So we're gonna call the meeting together here for the audit and finance. Our first, item for discussion today is John's gonna be here to go over our insurance. John? Hey, John, how are you?
Good morning, everybody. Well, beautiful day. Everybody have a great weekend. Pass those around. Today's item on the agenda is our property insurance coverage, which is a September 9th to September 9th, 2025 year. Last year, our premium cost was $283,606. This year, it's $287,514. All the particulars are the same on the deductibles and the limits. I can say that we did very well on our rate. It's the same carrier, Affiliated Factory Mutuals, which we've had since 2013. Just as a note of interest, the policy that expired in 2013 had a $297,000 premium for a lot less of limits in coverage. And when Chubb, who was our current carrier, wanted to increase it to $350, as we always do, we sent it out to market. And because our facilities are as they are, and you guys are so cooperative, the factory mutuals agreed to provide the coverage. There's nobody that can beat them in their costs or their coverage, I can assure you that. But it amazed me when we marketed it this year and looked at that premium from 2013.
Very impressive, yeah.
Yeah, we were about $10,000 less.
With this weather that we get now and being close to us now, because I know the devastation that happened in Rome, New York.
Oh, yeah.
Are these policies changing at all, the coverage to make sure we're prepared for this
We
different
have,
type of weather-related problems that's occurring?
we are well prepared for that with this coverage. The thing that happened a couple years ago is when they put this facility in the flood zone. We still have coverage under our policies for flood. You can only get $250,000 from the government, but we're limited to $1 million in loss at this location. I don't see, but I'm not a weatherman, how we're ever gonna get a flood here. We never have, but I guess anything is possible. Okay? Anybody have any questions on this? We did great, guys.
No, when I saw those numbers, I was like, wow, yeah, that was, so with that being said, any questions for John? If not, I need a motion. Luella, second, Neil. Any discussion? Any second, okay, Neil. All in favor? Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you, John.
Okay, Melissa.
Good morning, members of the board. Today we only have to review the statement of revenue and expenditures. After 4 months ending July 31st, we have an operating income of $1.8 million. Operating revenues continue to trend on budget, 10% over prior year and 22% over fiscal year 23. The favorable prior year variance is due to, in regular line revenue, the increase in pass-throughs. The budget increase in special line revenue is the budgeted increase for the SU contracted service, and the favorable year-over-year variance in advertising and other is the contracted increase for the guaranteed minimum for our transit advertising contracts. Any questions on operating revenues? Operating expenses continue to operate 10% under budget, 9% over prior year, and 15% over fiscal year 23. And that is primarily due to what we've seen probably in our own finances at home, inflation. To kind of go a little more into depth in regards to the variances compared to budget, those personnel expenses, which are the salaries and wages down to your pension, are all operating under budget with exception to pension. Our personnel expenses are budgeted with the expectation that all positions are fully staffed for 100% of the year. We are still about 40, maybe 30 operators short. And then pension is trending over budget, and that's due to changes in actuarial assumptions as well as the change that we made to the 401A employer match. The non-personnel expenses, which are the categories between risk and other operating expenses, are generally performing within budget as an aggregate. And then the year-over-year comparisons for those non-personnel expenses are all trending over prior year with exception to workers' comp. And that, that's exactly how we budgeted that expenses will go up for those categories. And the workers' comp is really attributed to our new risk manager, Crown, and working with Centro to get our employees back to work and getting claims closed quicker for those worker comp claims, which it's been a nice and maybe unexpected impact to the financial statements. The non-personnel expenses, risk down to other operating expenses, are all performing over prior year, which was budgeted that way. Any questions on the expenses? The non-operating revenue is on budget, 5% over prior year and 6% over fiscal year 23. The favorable increase over the prior year is attributed to our increase in STOA and investment revenue. We will continue to invest idle cash as long as our cash flow allows for it. Any questions on the non-operating revenue? Mortgage recording tax is performing on budget and roughly 6% over prior year. Excuse me, I said that backwards. Is in line with prior year and roughly 6% over budget. In July, we've seen an increase to our MRT totals, which is nice and hopefully a sign of improving interest rates. Yeah.
You don't wanna be too excited about the interest rates on this side? We're in a
Because-
situation on the investment side. So if we hope interest rates go down for the MRT, and if they stay up for the depository.
And you're all welcome. I was able to contribute to that.
I really do appreciate that.
Anytime. Well, actually, no, probably just the one time.
Moving on to our investment report, this is all of our cash and money markets. So our operating funds cash is at the end of July was 9.3 million. Our board designated non-invested cash is 4.1 million with a total of 13.4 million. In regards to our treasury investments, we do have 5 million in operating funds invested, and then with a total of 19.2 million with a combination of those board designated funds being invested. We are still seeing over 5% yield on treasury bills, and recently the 1 month treasuries are the only ones that are performing still at over 5%.
And that is because it's predictable. Shorter out, government predicts better. Right, Robert?
Well, it's a negatively sloping yield curve, meaning usually it's positive.
Received 1.6 in capital reimbursement from federal operating assistance, and utilized $137,000 for capital expenses. Reserve funds currently total $23.4 million, and the authority's cash position continues to be held. We are expected to receive the first two of our buses of our 84 bus purchase, with the total purchase being $53 million. The federal portion of that is $32 million, which is a reimbursement settled between 48 and 72 hours. So we get those funds back relatively quickly. The state schedule of reimbursement is, we had a meeting with them last week, and they said, although all of our grants are in place, but don't expect anything sooner than 90 days. So we will see opportunities that we will not be able to reinvest treasury bills just to sustain cash flow until we get those reimbursements from New York State. And then our local share, the money that will be permanently reduced from our accounts, will be roughly $4 million. So that will be the impact of the cash flow really through the end of the fiscal year.
You
Yes,
mentioned
Liz.
in this statement about new buses, you see, how many new buses?
84, 83,
There are gonna
thank
be
you.
some different changes in these new buses compared to what we have now.
So they will be Gilly buses, 40-foot buses, but they will be a new paint scheme and design. So they will incorporate the middle blue, the central logo blue, the ball blue, almost kind of back to the 1990s style where they're all one color. So the white bus with the 3 stripes will be going away. You get solid blue with the wing logo. The ball with the tagline, easy to use, hard to beat, will go away as well.
So one of the questions, when someone decides to advertise, they can advertise on the bus.
Yep, that'll go right through our advertising contract with Lamar. So any of the buses or the companies on the side of the buses or in the shelters, they handle all that.
Any additional questions? That concludes my report.
Okay, any questions from Melissa? It was a very good report. We understand cash flow, sometimes just like your own house, you have to move money around to make it work and then replace it later. Have a motion for financials, Luella, second, Robert, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we'll keep moving here. Chris, come on up, and I know you got about 3 things to talk about. We're gonna start out with the Syracuse Transfer Hub Janitorial Services. That's your blue document 3A.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. This resolution is for janitorial services at the Syracuse Transfer Hub. The contract will be paid for using operating funds. As you may remember from previous board meetings, the janitorial services that we seek are covered under preferred source offerings. So as a state authority, we are obligated to first contact the New York State Industries for the Disabled to see if there are any preferred to proceed with the contract through them. We received pricing from Human Technologies Corporation and North Coast Community Options, both preferred sources through New York State. HTC in the amount of $270,832 annually, and North Coast Community Options at $8,923 annually. North Coast will be responsible for the window cleaning on this contract, whereas HTC will be covering all the other janitorial services. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board award the contract for janitorial services at the Syracuse Hub to both HTC and North Coast Community Options for a period of 5 years.
Okay. Any questions? Human Technologies.
difference in price.
Yeah, that's responsible as part of our process. Okay.
One question I have for you. In this contract, was the hub is concerned in the janitorial service, are they gonna have updated equipment for them to do this?
They will get some updated equipment, yes. Maybe like the floor scrubbers and whatnot, most of the machinery.
Okay, so,
That's a quick question.
yeah,
The piece that North Coast Community is doing was already subtracted out of the work that Human Technologies is doing. So when they bid, they knew that was gonna be out.
Exactly, yes, yep. Yeah, we go through NICID, who primarily takes control of that. We send them the specifications and they work with be preferred sources in the area. So they essentially tell us that HTC only wants to perform the janitorial services, not the window cleaning. We'll look for another vendor to do the window cleaning on that.
Thank you.
So, I want a motion to award contract, to Human Technologies Corporation and North Coast Community Options for a 5-year term commencing September. Yeah, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All set. Okay, moving on to, Varonis Data Vantage System Licensing and Support. Seems pretty interesting for smart people.
Yes, it's definitely a mouthful.
It's resolution 3B.
Thank you. So this contract is for the Varonis Data Vantage System Licensing and Support contract. This will be paid for using operating funds. The invitation for bid was publicly let on June 26th. 78 vendors were invited, of which 33 were minority and women-owned business enterprises. In total, 22 bid packages were downloaded. On July 18th, 5 bids were received, with the lowest responsible bidder being Comp City Business Solutions. A full waiver for MWBE participation was approved by New York State Empire Development on this contract. But I would like to note that Comp City Business Solutions is a certified at the end of the 3-year term.
Questions from the board? Motion. Julia, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're gonna go into, resolution 3C, regarding, minivan services.
Thank you.
Chris.
So this resolution is for minivan services B. This contract will be paid for using operating funds. The invitation for bid was publicly let on May 7th. 22 vendors were invited, of which 5 were New York State minority and women-owned business enterprises. In total, 20 bid packages were downloaded. On May 29th, 4 bids were received, with the lowest responsible bidder being Suburban Transportation. A full waiver for MWPE participation was approved by New York State Empire Development on this contract. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board award the contract for minivan services B to Suburban Transportation for a full 5-year term.
What's covered under the minivan services?
In terms of the service,
Yeah.
it would be just the minivan service. So we have lift-equipped vehicles for the wheelchairs, sedan services, and then minivan services. So this would be the minivan services.
How different these minivans gonna be from what we have now?
How different are they in terms of what Central offers,
Yeah.
or? I believe Central offers, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, just the lift-equipped vehicles?
Yeah,
correct?
all of our call and bus paratransit vehicles are lift equipped, with wheelchair securements, the cutaways, essentially, that are driving around town. We don't offer any other minivans or sedan services. So for individuals that do qualify for call bus, that don't require a mobility device to get around, can use these sedans or minivan services. So it's an alternative option that we have, for comfort and feasibility.
Just a quick question. We say full waiver for MWBE was waived a lot.
Yes.
So when, if we looked at our contracts across the board, do we have a fair amount of MWBEs that have contract with us?
We do. So we put out a 30% goal every year for Central for all of our contracts in total, and we do consistently reach that goal quarter after quarter. So it does seem like it does come back with these waivers on there, but a lot of our small procurements that the board doesn't see are awarded to MWBEs, whether that's MBEs or WBEs. And again, like the previous contract that I just mentioned for Varonis, that is going to an MBE, so we get utilization on that, even though the waiver was granted by New York State.
That's a good question, Tony. Is there a certain benchmark for the industry standard, like you said, 30%? Is there a benchmark?
I'm not sure
That
if there's a
is the state goal. The state goal is 30%.
Okay.
And we consistently hit the state goal.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Hey, this is about teamwork, folks. Just talk about it. Robert?
One of the things by sitting through a lot of these meetings is some of these bids have no minority owned business bidding on the project. We mean, I remember that, or that you guys would say, we didn't receive any, that is one of the issues, correct?
You know, I tell you, you know, sometime in the future, you know, it'd be a good exercise for the board, just to have a common bid come up and just to look at it, because it's, you gotta put effort into these bids, okay, you gotta put effort, there's a lot of compliance, bureaucracy, there's a lot into the bids, it's not just our state authority, it's all over, but it's, if you think you're just gonna get this bid and get it done in a half hour, it ain't gonna happen. But I think sometime maybe a little 101, I think would be good for the board, because
Careful what you wish for.
I agree.
I think it's good. I think it's good because listen, then you see what it's like to be on the receiving end. And if you owned a business, what would you do? Especially if you're a smaller shop, do you have the time and effort to put into it, Robert?
Well, okay, one of the meetings I attended, you did that, I believe.
Yeah.
There was a big binder.
Yes.
I mean, it was huge. And then my recollection is you guys helped potential people who wanted to bid on it get through the mess. Do you still do that?
I mean, Kate, I don't wanna speak for you, go ahead.
Can you tell I'm like dying? So, a simple bid itself is about 60 pages, right? And for any vendor that wants to respond to that 60-page document that they needed to read through, they have at least 8 exhibits that they need to fill out for us, certifying that they comply with this, that, the other thing. That's the simplest bid that we put out. If there's federal monies, there's more pages, there's more exhibits, and it gets a little bit more in-depth, right? When it comes to the MWBE program, we have pre-proposal, pre-bid meetings to let the prime vendors know that there is a goal in this contract where they can go to find potential MWBEs, to reach out to them. The MWBE program has a ton of steps where they have to reach out to MWBEs. A lot of these waivers, the one in particular for the minivan services, that vendor displayed good faith efforts. They reached out to MWBEs in the area and didn't get any responses back. So that is a lot of the waivers that we get approved, is the prime vendor attempted to find an MWBE and wasn't able to find an MWBE. So yes, there is a lot that goes into the bids and proposals. We could certainly sit down if the board is interested.
And see, here's the other thing too. I think once you finally take it on for the first time, and you're like, whew, got it in, got awarded contract, feel good. The following cycle, it has to be much easier for that person because they've already been through it. It's like breaking through that first one.
Absolutely.
Which is your
Yeah. And these waivers aren't something that we just go to the state and say, we would like a waiver, that's it. I mean, they do ask us to show a lot of these good faith efforts from ourselves, from vendors that are bidding on this. So it is a lengthy process when we do send it out to the state. They don't just say, okay, here's your waiver, with no documentation to back up on that.
That was good discussion. Okay. Any other questions? Looking to award contract to Suburban Transportation for a 5-year term, commencing October 1st. I have a motion. Darlene, second. Tony. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good job, Chris, by the way. Okay, 3D. Caitlin, come on up. Windshield washer fluid.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So this is the resolution for our windshield washer fluid contract, and this will be paid for with operating funds. So this invitation to bid was publicly let on June 11th. We invited 9 vendors and 16 bid packages were downloaded. On July 3rd, we received 1 bid from Solventum Petroleum. They offered a price of $2.15 per gallon with a 5% annual increase. There is a waiver for MWBE participation on this contract, and that is due to no available MWBEs in the marketplace for this particular commodity. So our recommendation is that the board award the windshield washer services contract to Solventum Petroleum for a full 5-year term.
Questions?
I wanna give it to
Have we evaluated making our own in-house?
That's a good question. Jeff is not here. Are you aware?
No,
I am not aware of that.
But Jeff
We
understands.
did years ago, Neil, but I can't remember where that fell.
And I'm sure there may be reasons not to. We make ours in-house.
Okay.
Oh,
It's, okay,
Who's we?
who's to the city?
Just wondered.
Yeah. But I don't know, maybe there's gaskets, seals, whatever, that are a little different, I don't know, but a question for Jeff. I
I'll bring
guess.
up the question to him, yeah, absolutely.
What is the difference between the wash and fluid? Are you gonna be, am I asking the right question? What is the differences of the wash and fluid far as the ones that concern, because that's flood?
So we used to have a summer blend and a winter blend, and we went to an all-season blend this time, so we use the same blend all year round.
Okay.
Neil, you comfortable with us moving?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's, I mean, it's a good price.
I thought it was. Okay, so I need a motion, bring it forward. Luella, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor, aye. Thank you to the work contract to solvents and petroleum for 5 years. Okay, moving to 3E, Caitlin, authorized contract to award Syracuse facility bathroom renovations.
Yes, so this will be paid for with grant funding. This invitation to bid was publicly let on July 8th. 96 bid packages were sent out, 55 of which were sent to MWBE firms, and 28 bid packages were downloaded. So 3 bids we received on August 6th, and the lowest responsible bidder was Bellows Construction. They offered a price of $677,443. So it is our recommendation that the board award the Syracuse facility bathroom renovations to Bellows Construction.
Those are good numbers, they're all within a certain range, that's
Very
good
nice.
bidding.
Yeah.
Good.
Speaking of bathrooms, one need to be up, you can upgrade that.
I don't know of any plans to update the bathroom with the hub, I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
on the
It's
list.
only 10 years old or 12 years old, so
Yeah,
that,
it's,
Okay,
I
question?
go through the,
Just constructed.
Any questions for Caitlin on this? Okay, motion. Luella, second Neil, any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Miss Melissa, is there any other business at hand?
No.
Okay, we're gonna take 5. rise for the pledge of allegiance. Derek, why don't you take the lead with the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, Joe. Okay, we have a quorum is present. We have, this is getting to be too common lately of good people retiring here. So this is something that it gives me an honor to talk about the greatness of our employees. So I'd like to discuss today now. Beverly Brown Enzo joined Central Team in the spring of 1987. Is an operator trainee in Central Syracuse facility on May 9th, 1987. She turned in as a part-time bus operator, a position she held until December 6, 1987, when a full-time operator position became available. Beverly continued her employment with Central as a full-time operator until recently announcing her retirement. During her, so you millennials, listen to this, 37-year career with Central, Beverly transported many customers throughout Central New York to work, to school, to doctor's offices, shopping centers, and many places in between. Beverly proved herself to be a valuable member of Central Syracuse operations team. She could be counted on to report to work as scheduled, conduct herself in a professional manner, provide excellent service to Central customers. Beverly has played a role in training and working with Central's new drivers, teaching them not only the tricks of the trade, but how to conduct themselves as professionals and deliver a positive customer experience. And I'm sure patience too. Effective August 1st, 24, following a 37-year career with Central, Beverly's destination sign flipped to out of service as she set out to her destination of choice, retirement. Exclamation. Beverly, we want to thank you for your many years of service and professionalism. We are proud to have you as a member of our operations team for the past 37 years. Congratulations and have a great retirement, well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any party words,
Could you
Beverly?
airbrush a little bit? Thank you very much. This is the first time I've ever been in this room in all the years. I think this is the first time I've been upstairs in this building. The new people that are coming in, I talked to them just, right before I retired, which made me want to retire. You can laugh, but I will tell you this: when I am sitting in the training lot across the way, and I can hear swearing from the pavilion, that's no good, because people going by, walking with their kids, walking, old people, they can hear that. New people are waiting for 5 years for their 401s. It's not like me. I stayed here for a pension. I stayed here for the benefits. I stayed here through hell and high water to get those. These young ones, they don't know what it is. The worst thing you did was take away the pension, because you snagged them with that pension. Now they just want to leave. They want that 5 years. Day after 5 years, they're going to walk out that door guaranteed and go someplace else. And that's sad. That's sad. Many of you here I don't know. Many of you I've just seen for the first time. But it's been a long road. Back 37 years ago, it was, I really don't like saying this, but it was better. It was better. The camaraderie was better. We were more of a family. We weren't separated. But it's yeah. And when I walked out the door the last time, I was like, now I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I roll over and go back to sleep. And I have a job stocking shelves at the tops. And that's all I do when I talk to the food, you know? Salad, get off my shelf, salad.
You know, I kind of understand some of your feelings there. I grew up in a household, my father-in-law was a bus operator for a number of years, okay? And we talked a lot before he retired. And that was, of course, a lot different. Many things were different, just not with people, but driving a bus, no power steering, no cooling, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I remember those.
So I remember talking to him and the challenges. And, you know, as far as you mentioned the pension, this is something that has evolved, as we know, even with the state of New York, how the tier 4 compared to the tier 6 right now, how different that is too, because it's a much different retirement in the entire state of New York under that. So I'm glad, you know, you voiced your thoughts and concerns, because I think it's important to us, and I respect that. And but I think today it's about you.
Well, I have 37 years of driving, but I have 42 years of being on this property, because we went from 8 hours to 12 hours, depending on what you signed on. So anywhere from 1 to 4 of those hours, we didn't get paid for, or you got half time, or you got a little bit of a stipends.
Yeah.
But we used to have appreciation day, and I don't know if you were ever here for that.
I've been on this board for about 20 years now. So
Okay, so back when I
I
was
can go
here,
back 20. Prior to that, I was with Utica Transit Authority, so I have some tenure, but not 37.
when I first got here, I brought my family down. We had Dad Brown, Mom Brown, and then all the Browns numbered. I brought about 20 of them. And my dad was talking to, I think, Warren Frank, and he said, "Are you out of your mind? These people working 12 hours a day for 8 hours pay? Are you out of your mind?" And the guy said, Warren Frank said, "You know what? If she wants to work, let her work." And my dad was a hard worker, and I said, "Dad, I will see it through to retirement." And this morning I gave him a hug and said, "I'm going into retire." And he said, "When?" I said, "August 1st.
You know,
So-
this last go around with the contract, I think the board was in full support of a one of the better contracts I think that the authority has offered in a long time. No contract is perfect. Nothing is ever perfect
No,
anywhere.
you got a better contract with a mechanic as a union leader than we ever got with a driver.
But that was one thing that I think
So
that,
it's you know,
That
and
was-
I'll tell anybody that.
yeah, and that was one thing I think that both parties were proud of, and improved by the percentage of ratification that came out through that vote from the union itself. But anyway, this was great.
Yeah.
Appreciate
This
it.
is very, very nice. Thank you very much.
Appreciated the conversation.
Thank you.
And everything you did. And
Well, you know, every once in a
Really
while I
good.
just get to yell at the bosses.
listen, it's always an open process. It's always transparent here. It always has been. And like I said, I grew up in a family where my father-in-law was a bus operator. My mother-in-law worked for the Transportation Authority. So I understand. I know what it was like Sunday dinners talking about a lot of these issues.
I know what it was Sunday dinner, me being at work.
Yeah. Same
I know
here.
missing a whole mess of things.
Yeah,
I remember when
yeah.
my kid left college and said he was going to Seattle. I said, "You can't go to Seattle." He said, "Mom, you were never home. You can't tell me what I can do."
Yeah.
And he's in Seattle still today, 12 years later.
What's
He's
he
a-
do? What's he do out there?
He walks dogs. He has a business math combo, and he walks dogs for a living with a rescue. That he owns. He owns a rescue.
Because he likes it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Thanks, Beverly.
Bye.
Really appreciate
You're welcome.
everything.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
There's really no food.
Thank you. Thanks. You're Mr. Schultz, right?
No,
Are you
no,
Mr.
I-
Schultz? Did he say out?
No, he's out.
Did he? He was one person that I wanted to shake the hand of. And I'll tell you why. Back about 20 years ago, we took our money out of his investment account. And I'm a millionaire.
God bless you. Good for you. Good for you.
My husband knows how to invest. So,
Thank you.
thank you all.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Too many retirees on here. All right, we're gonna move into, thanks, man.
Have a great day, all.
Thank
You too.
Motion to, let me see, next meeting date, September 27th, in Finance Committee at 9, board meeting 9:13. Motion to approve regular minutes of July 26th. As you see, there was a correction there, Jason Smith's name duplicated in attendance, corrected for the signed minutes. May I have a motion? Julius, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. Based on my report, very short one, couple things to add based on that. Still drawing down on the COVID funds, another $1 million last month to help support the operations. Just shy of $10 million left in that, which we still continue to project to draw down by the end of the fiscal year. Back on August 7th, we hosted FTA's regional administrator, Michael Kulata. He's new in this role, but he wanted to get to know the agencies in his region for Region 2, which is a lot of the Northeast, and certainly here in New York. So they were doing a road show with the FTA and his team. So we hosted them here. Some of them were virtual, some of them were in person, to just learn about Central, talk about what we're going through, projects we have on the horizon, some of our capital plan items. You know, certainly talk about Micron 81, which is a hot topic here in Central New York. And then, you know, just go over some of our challenges and some of the things that are going very well. So we held that meeting with all the VP staff, and we also did a tour of the RTC, the hub, and then this facility here, which they complimented on, the maintenance of it, the facilities themselves. So overall, a very well meeting, providing great insight for both us and for the FTA. Still continuing, you know, the various meetings, the RPM program, recruitment, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and then certainly the continuation of Micron, Gen Fair, United County Rural Transit. Also yesterday, Steve Brett and myself hosted Assemblywoman Hunter. This is a continuation of those legislative meetings that we were having with our local electeds to get them here on property, let them see, you know, more of the facility than just the buses on the road and maybe the hub. So the meeting went very well. Great conversation with the Assemblywoman and her staff. Certainly topics that we talked about, Micron, BRT, upcoming projects as far as service redesign. You know, and we're thankful for her support through this process. Unfortunately, time did not allow us to give her a tour, but she certainly welcomed the idea of coming back again to do that and be able to meet with some other staff and the maintenance and operators in that process. I will also touch on the wellness fair. Jackie was not able to be here for the full board, so just to give the board an update, if you recall, last year the HR team put together a wellness fair here for the Central employees in Syracuse. We are also planning one in the coming months for Utica, so we will give you an update on that as well. But we had about 25 vendors participating in the event here on property, you know, including the Department of Health, a local gym, certainly our ATU 580 folks. We had individuals coming in from various banks to help provide estate planning, which actually I think was Mackenzie's team came in for that. You know, we had some health and dental insurance companies, which are our local health and dental insurance companies, some investment companies, and even the Lions Club, which Tina helped facilitate bringing them in, that they provided to anyone who wanted to participate a screening for potential vision problems. So they have a specialized vision screening that maybe your doctor doesn't normally do that can detect some potential future concerns. So we had a lot of people participate in that. I think we had about 85 employees participate in the event in total. But overall, the event is very well received from both the employees and the vendors to have those conversations. And certainly I want to thank the HR team, specifically Stacy Schreiner, who is planning and executed this event for the last 2 years, and the other HR staff who assisted her with getting those vendors. And also the payroll team was down there from accounting, so I don't want to leave them out. To just answer questions for the employees, we had a few retirees come through as well. So very well attended. It's continuing to grow every year. We want to continue to put this event on to allow employees to interact. And certainly as we talk about wellness, it's not just physical wellness, but financial, mental wellness as well. So EAP was also there if anybody chose to want to meet with them. So that concludes my report. If anybody has any questions on that.
This question not concerning your report, was excellent. This young lady that came through, some of the concerns that she expressed, maybe we can have some of the employee tour the area here. Do you do that? To see what Central is going, what is concerned. Maybe have a day set aside for them to be able to tour the whole facility. I don't know how you'll be able to do that, but you have to figure that out.
Yeah, certainly something we can discuss and try to work through for sure. Thank you. Any other questions on my report? Starting out, I'll turn it over to Raman. Certainly, some interesting topics given the New York State Fair started 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah.
Raman, come on.
Throwing me off. I'm not a warrior here.
Yeah. I gotta rotate it around. Keep you on your toes.
Good morning, everyone. So we've got a couple interesting topics. Obviously, the fair is going on. First, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the fair planning. It's obviously a major undertaking for our entire organization. Our teams have been out there setting up for weeks, and they're about to be putting in a lot of time over the next few weeks. So far, I'll let Steve speak to ridership at the fair, but so far it's been a little bit slow due to the weather over the past few days. We expect that to make up for that and then some. Actually, we're anticipating heavy ridership this year, especially because the fair raised their parking rates on site. So we're anticipating a larger number of people using our park and ride resources. So we are ready for it. Last year was my first fair, and there were several takeaways from last year that we were able to make some changes, some minor, well, mostly minor, but the one that I think is probably most significant was the hours of service changes. We better align the service hours to really meet up with our hub and our service hours at our for our fixed routes. So now we don't have people coming from the fair to the hub and not having a bus to get on. So that's just one example of an improvement there. We also better aligned our hours of service to be in line with the state troopers. So after they leave, we also leave. It's for safety reasons, it is better. We had a lot of service past that time that was not necessary. By eliminating some of that not necessary service, we also not only improve the safety, but we also improve the reliability of our services the next morning to make pull-out, because there are PTSB requirements for rest, and we just needed to make sure we're managing our normal daily operations better as well. Some additional changes we made at the fair, reconfigured the Willis lot, for example, to improve safety and prevent people from potentially walking over our bus loops. That was a concern, so we improved that. But overall, it's going very smoothly. And again, thank you to our team for what they do out there. I also wanted to briefly touch on MOUs and MOAs. This has been a topic I've brought up a couple times.
Just for the board's understanding, an MOU is a memorandum of understanding, and an MOA is a memorandum of agreement. And these are documents we use with organized labor a lot when we go outside of the contract to mutually agree upon something that is not, or that the contract is either silent to or does not speak to, or we amend it or modify it through one of those two documents. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. So our goal, whenever we do MOAs, MOUs, there's a couple of different priorities. First and foremost, if we can, we want to improve reliability and efficiency of our services, and hopefully making improvements to employee quality of life, which ultimately leads to better retention and recruitment. So it's kind of multifaceted, but we're really trying our best to improve things. Bev was up here and she mentioned some things that we are really trying to improve as a whole, as an organization. We know that there's obviously a national driver shortage. Everyone's aware of that, and I think we have made some improvements on that with our renegotiation. Our wages have gone up, and we are really doing what we can. But we have an obligation to our community to do everything we can. So that's why we're ultimately looking at what we can change with the MOUs, with the MOAs to improve the situation. So to give a couple of recent MOUs, we established an extra list, which I explained in the past, but essentially we're creating a safety net, a backup person on site to, in the event of a person calling in sick or vacation, we have someone to backfill and not lose service to our customers. So we've established an MOU with Auburn. For the first time ever, we established an extra list there. That was a recent change. We also updated our MOU in Syracuse, which was put in place to establish designated show times for every driver that's on the extra list. That has been going very well, and we further expanded on that MOU to improve brakes and flexibility of brakes to our drivers on the extra list. And we actually just signed that yesterday. We hope that that's going to be a big improvement. We also established a part-time servicer position up in Oswego just recently. We hope that that will better balance the workload for servicing the buses up there. Lastly, we have a couple of other MOAs and MOUs that we're working on to better improve driver quality of life, and I hope to be able to announce those soon. We're working closely with the union leadership and all of our properties to really improve things. So.
Yeah, and the other thing too, folks, an MOA usually has a maturity date, or what we call it is a sunset clause, certain date.
Used to MOAs, for example, the one up in Oswego, we made that a permanent change. We now have an extra list there after testing it for 6 months.
I noticed, I see on the news, that's that new service that Oswego has, new buses that come in.
The new buses, I don't know if we're getting new buses in Oswego.
What service are you referring to? Because I don't think it's us. I think Oswego County is running something independently.
Yes.
So they have their mobility manager. They operate some rural service that they
so
contract. I don't know if
do-
that's not with us.
Okay,
We meet up and we're in conjunction, but we're not directly overseeing that.
okay.
And we did coordinate with them a little bit. They had some service coming to the fair. We helped them, directed them to the pink lot, and
Okay.
just worked with them. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck with the fair.
Thank you.
Tony, you have a question?
No, for you.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I got a couple of meetings I have to get to that I'm gonna have to leave. So I don't know if we need to vote.
Yeah, any action, we're gonna have, is they gonna hold the quorum?
No, we have one plus.
Do we have one plus?
We're at 7 right now.
Okay.
Or
So Tony can be excused?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 is quorum. So
Okay, I don't need to leave yet, but I just want to make
Okay,
sure
no.
that if you needed me, I wanted to vote.
Yeah, we have 7 on the same.
Yeah, then we're okay.
Yeah.
Need six.
Okay, good, thanks for that update.
Yeah.
all right, Steve.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. How's everybody doing this morning?
Very good.
I'm going to give my usual update on ridership and a few other things, so I may be up here for a little while. So ridership compared this past July compared to previous July, very good. We had a couple of extra weekdays during the month this year, but ridership was up 14% overall, which is significant, which if you adjusted for equal up to date, is still a double-digit increase. Significant increases in Utica. Ridership in Utica has been very strong. I think we're probably close to 80 to 85% of where we were pre-pandemic in Utica. It's done very well. This summer's been great. Rome has bounced back. We were up 7% in the month of July in Rome, and that is considering that we're out of service for about a week due to the tornado there, so we weren't carrying anybody for a while. So the existing 3 fixed routes that we've kept are now performing about as well as the entire service was last year. So when you increase frequency and provide people more one-seat rides, I think overall you're really providing a better community service, a better product, and people will use the service. So I think what we have going on in Rome is really smart. We've done a good thing. People are using the service. The on-demand service is still going strong. It was disrupted during the tornado that struck out there, but this month the ridership's bouncing back, so we're doing very well. Call-a-bus, as you all well know, that service just continues to increase by double digits almost in all of the properties that we serve. Syracuse was up 13.5%, and it's the ridership is stronger than I anticipated. Return, I get with our accounting department every year for budgeting, and the numbers are a little higher than I anticipated, which is good. But I do think that we could get into some situations in Syracuse in the fall, for perhaps where we might have some overcrowding issues, which would be to a degree welcome problems to have. We have buses that are full. That's a good thing. So overall, I think we're doing very well with ridership. Regarding the state fair, Robin touched on it. If you look at the shift in how people are using our services this year, it tells an interesting story. Attendance is down 20% for the first 2 days. You know, the weather's not been great, so their attendance is down 20%. Our park and ride locations at Long Branch and Destiny downtown, however, are up over last year. But the Orange Lot ridership is down 45%. So people clearly have shifted from the parking lot to park and rides early on. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the parking's gone up $12 and people are just doing the math. It's more or less expensive.
How much time is it for the, you pick it up, say, Destiny to get there?
It's about a 10, 15-minute ride, depends on traffic, but you know, in the early days, it's really quick. You're
getting dropped off right in front.
Yeah, the main gate, you walk right in, and you know, the Center of Progress building's right there. It's really a simple, great service.
And is there a cost for that?
For
park and ride?
The park and ride, the parking's free, and the park and ride's $1 a ride. This year we're
so 2 to 12, $2.
Yeah, and even if you have a family of 4, it's 12 to 8. So
yeah,
it's still a good deal to use our service. We have debuted the Tap to Pay, credit cards, Apple Pay, Google Pay. About 10% of the riders at the state fair are using that product. It's a little slower process. We're seeing a little bit of delays in people boarding, but nothing else we can get through this year. We may look into some other options to go forward next year, but it's going very well. The Tap to Pay overall, system-wide, it's about a 4% usage. That will continue to grow. It's growing faster than the mobile ticketing grew. So I think what's going to happen over time is you're going to see some individuals who are paying with cash, they're going to move to credit cards. I think some individuals who are using the mobile ticket are going to go to credit cards, and I ultimately think that credit cards are going to continue to grow over time. It's just very easy for people. It's with them all the time. It's really simple for them to use that, especially if they have Google Pay and Apple Pay. Another element that people can use. As you may be well aware, we had a public hearing regarding our service change that occurred about a year ago, where we rerouted the 84 route, getting people to the airport and moving out of some neighborhoods in the Mattydale area on the Mattydale route. We had a public hearing a couple weeks ago. We had some significant feedback from individuals whose service was taken away from them. We had members of the airport community that were there, very supportive of what we did. There were individuals who have to walk a long way to get to the bus now. They were not happy. They were very vocal. They were very organized. This is the process that we have set up. You throw something out there, you try it, you look at it, does it work? What kind of feedback do you get? Then maybe you have to take a second look at what you're doing. So we've done that. We listened to residents. Glad they came out and voiced their concerns. Our service development team has looked at some options. We believe there's probably a way in which we can serve both the airport and the affected community that's along the Malden, Malloy, and Floyd Road area. So I think we're probably going to restore some of that service back. I'd like to get that started when the sign-up begins in September. We still have to do a new equity analysis on what the impact would be for the new routing that would begin at that point. We will present that equity analysis to the board at the next meeting in September, at which point I believe we will need a firm resolution from the board to accept that. My recommendation is that since we're able to provide the service to both communities, we should do so. But that would be my recommendation to the board. Probably about a month or so ago, we had members of the Utica community reach out to us regarding the World Lacrosse Championships that are coming to town in Utica. It's a big deal. There are teams from 38 countries that are going to be in Utica. They reached out to us to ask us if we can provide some additional buses on our bus routes to help get people from the hotels to what is it called now, the Aud?
Nexus Center.
The Nexus Center. I'm gonna call for you to Aud.
Let's go talk connected.
The Nexus Center, for about 2 weeks in September. We reached an agreement with them to provide that service. They're gonna pay us for the service. We're also gonna get some advertising to the Commons games. But it's a good community outreach. We don't do enough in, some of the smaller properties that we serve. We do a lot here in Syracuse, but this is something we can do in the city of Utica and make sure that, one of their big community events is a success, in September. I have touched on everything. I will now turn it over to Brennan. Does anybody have any questions for me, by the way?
Okay, you mentioned Malden Road.
Yes.
Those routes, does that include Allen Road and Chestnut Street?
No, there's nobody that showed up from Allen and Chestnut Street. These are just individuals from the Malden, Moline, Florida Road area. The ridership along the Chestnut Allen area just very, very small, and I don't think any individuals there. They were not part of the initial. We haven't really received much feedback regarding that area.
This thing with Utica, this is gonna be for how long?
Couple weeks. It's like a 2-week event.
Okay, so this is the only service, this is the only service that you have with Utica, right?
Pardon me?
Is that the only service you're gonna have with Utica?
No, we have the entire city of Syracuse, yes, but this is for 2 weeks. We're gonna throw some extra buses.
Extra buses.
Yeah, on their existing routes, and we'll accommodate the lacrosse players and fans.
Okay.
So it's a very big deal. Thank you, everyone.
Very good, Steve, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's step county right of ways that will help us get closer into the design phase of the actual placement of the stations and infrastructure. We have also been meeting with FTA and New York State DOT, keeping them in the loop as to our progress on the BRT project. We did finalize the scope of the system redesign, and again, the system redesign is a really important aspect of the BRT because the whole system needs to work as a whole. Again, we can't have that 15-minute service on the BRT routes if the rest of the service is still 40 minutes and it's not cohesive and lining up with the rest of the service. So we are in this next phase. Will be planning, analysis, and stakeholder community engagement services in support of the entire redesign of Onondaga County. The community stakeholder engagement portion will include operator engagement, so we're super excited about that. We're getting feedback from everyone. That's important. It will also include data collection and document reviews, market analysis, and a transit performance assessment. So they're going to look at what we have now and say what's working and what isn't working. We are going to update service standards and design guidelines, which is also really exciting from a planning perspective. And then the transit network redesign will be planned out and implemented. So our goal is to have the redesigned transit system, again, in Onondaga County on the road in 2026. And that's where we are. Those are some of the next steps, all good things. We're working well with our consultants and have a really good internal team as well that's working on this. So any questions?
It's exciting on your piece.
A lot of exciting things happening around here.
Right. We do have good things happening. That's why we're all excited about it.
Nice report, Brent.
Awesome.
Bruce?
Last but not least, right?
No, we got it. EJ's got a pinch hit for Jeff quick.
Yep.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just real quick, we finished our infrastructure update at the Syracuse hub, so the CSRs are all fully moved in and operational. No issues that I know of with that. We were experiencing some issues with cameras in our driver's lot. We've worked through that and fixed those. And we've also added some additional cameras out in Utica and here in the Syracuse area to increase our visibility. We're currently in the second phase of our server rack cabling cleanup and equipment install. Hopefully sometime in the near future I'll have some before and after pictures that you'll be pretty impressed. Our software developer, Jim Anderson, he's created a new app that's helping the HR tremendously with their drug and alcohol testing program, automating a lot of what was a manual, tedious process. I think we're happy with that. In cybersecurity, we've had our privileged remote access system online now for a little over a month. We continue to onboard vendors and using it on a day-to-day basis. We're really happy with the system. We love the capabilities that it provides to us. Raise a hand here, who loves passwords, creating and remembering passwords? Nobody, right? So, with the litany of passwords we use on a day-to-day basis, we're investigating some enterprise level tools that'll help with that, from creating a strong, complex password to managing it. And these tools, you create one long, strong password, just one password that you can remember, and then it creates a password vault where you can house everything else. It makes things much easier. In our organization, I don't know how many people here know that we have a lot of different networks, OT, IoT, and regular IT networks, right? And that creates a lot of security issues, so we're looking for solutions that are going to help us segment all those different types of networks to help protect the organization. And the last thing, future projects, the RTC, the LED signs and scheduling monitors out there, they're long in the tooth and in need of replacement, so we're in the initial planning phases of that project there. With that, that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions. Yes, sir.
Because of AI, you have to continue changing your password. So
yes, they're using AI to, a lot of the phishing emails that you see generated by AI, and it's becoming very hard to.
So you have to constantly keep that change.
You gotta be ever vigilant, right? That's something I mentioned at the last meeting, even in your own personal life, be very careful on what you do. Any other questions?
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
And then, pinch hitting for Jeff Long. He's out yesterday and today, so EJ's gonna pinch hit for him, give you an update on some things going on around the facility.
Morning, everybody. It's been a while since I got to sit up here.
I really want to grill EJ, so I haven't.
I knew you were gonna be all over me today.
You might have to put that beard back on. All right.
All right, first things first, I would like to introduce David Caraccio, who is our new facilities project manager. He started back in early July, and we kind of threw him to the wolves because Jeff, Nate, and I went on vacation basically as soon as he started, so he hit the ground running though, so he's doing a great job. So some of the projects that we have moving forward right now, as you came in, you saw that we have paved the parking lot up front. We're paving around the whole facility right now. David's been instrumental in running that project and coordinating parking and the movement of buses throughout the facility. Another project, the bathrooms that were just awarded, those are original to the facility in 1982, so that is a nice upgrade for a lot of people. We had a pre-bid meeting for the backup generator on Utica, which they have never had backup power out there, so that'll be good.
I can confirm that.
That'll be a nice addition. We are also evaluating proposals of a consultant for the new facility down in Utica. So consolidation of the Rome and Utica operations. It's been a long time coming, since 2005 when you guys joined. So we hopefully will be moving forward with that.
Dry ground.
There's roughly $22 million programmed right now in the capital plan for that project, and we will be moving forward. Hopefully in a couple months, or next couple months.
Yeah, within the next month.
All right. And lastly, we had a pre-bid, or not a pre-bid, but a kickoff meeting for our CNG project. They gave us, Trillium, who's the contractor, gave us about a 30 to 40 week lead time on the compressors once those are ordered. So it will be a year-long project, but we will be giving updates on our progress. So we are continuing to be a compressed natural gas fleet while we transition into hopefully zero emission hydrogen over the next couple of years. Any questions?
You mentioned had to bring this up. You mentioned bathroom, right?
Yep.
Is that concerning the bathroom down at the pub?
It does not.
Well, you gonna slip it in there somehow.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Well, I ride the bus all the time on Sundays, and I go through and I look at the pub bathrooms. Well, sometimes they use it for people coming through to use it for different purposes. And like I talked to the janitor services, and they have to continually close it off sometimes because it's being used properly. But I think that's one thing that you take a look at how it can.
I mean, I'm not sure if that's a remodeling issue. I think it's more of a usage issue. But we are working with local SPD. We have a meeting with the mayor's office and City Hall to help mitigate some of the issues that we're running into with people that are, they're not our customers, but they're using the facility for other purposes.
Yeah.
So we are actively working on increasing safety measures and also putting in protocols to make sure that the folks that are on our property are conducting themselves in an appropriate manner, which is part of the rules and regulations update that Susanna brought 2 months ago. So collectively, it's a larger project, but I think that's more of where you're going with that. Which does in turn create issues where they do have to be cleaned probably more frequently than they should be. But we are actively pursuing improvements in that area.
I just had to mention that.
Any other questions?
That was great. Good report.
Thank you, CJ. Welcome back to the table.
Thanks.
So one more thing I want to bring up to the table in the room is our recruitment efforts. So September 7th, we are hosting an open house here at 200 Cortland Ave again to do the on-site interviews, recruitment, drive a bus in our closed course. So we're hopeful that recruitment of efforts will continue to drive the applications for operators to continue to build our operator ranks to get service back up to where it was. Starting probably this week or coming next week, you'll start seeing our commercials hit the airwaves to promote that event, and hopefully we will have a good turnout for that to get a good class that will start on October 7th. So we are hopeful for that to continue to see the benefits of that negotiation process and the MOUs that Ron was referring to continue to build our ranks.
How many drivers are we down?
About 35. And as you guys continually see, we're seeing the retirements happen. We just had a class turned in last week of 11 operators. So that'll help us sustain some of those retirements, and hopefully we'll see a good service launch in September as we get back to the school service and SU back up in full swing. So if there's any other questions for the BPs, Melissa, anything else outside of your report that we didn't talk about you want to cover?
Nope, I'm all set, thank you.
All right, Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report.
Very good. Great reports, everybody. Really informative from the board. We're gonna move into everything we discussed in detail. Audit and Finance Committee, John Maloff came in, presented our liability insurance. Just basically about a less than $4,000 bump up, which I thought was quite impressive. So I appreciate his aggressiveness and getting us a good rate. With that being said, the board accepted a renewal with factory affiliated factory mutual insurance. I have a motion to accept this. We'll allow a second. Neil, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Also, Melissa went over our statement of revenue and expenditures. We seem to be in a profitable position at this point, and I know she's maximizing her ability to invest our money properly, even though the Fed just announced they think there's going to be a cut coming. And it was during the meeting, so somebody was listening into our meeting here. With that being said, motion made to accept that report. Julius, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We had 5 resolutions. Chris brought us forth first resolution with Syracuse Transfer Hub Janitorial Services to award bid to Human Technologies Corporation Northeast Community Options for a 5-year term. Commencing this September. Motion was made to move the full board motion. Julius, second. Neil, any Any discussion? All in favor, aye. He also put forward the Varian Data Management System licensing and support. Motion was made to award contract to Comp City Business Solutions for a 3-year term. Motion was made to bring to the full board. May I have a motion, please? Tony, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor, aye. He also brought the minivan services, give us a little background on what a minivan service does. After that was spoke to. Motion was made to recommend awarding contract to Suburban Transportation 5-year contract commencing October 1st. Motion made to bring it from board. By the motion, Luella, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Caitlin brought nice conversation to the table about windshield washer fluid, and only one vendor seemed to come through. That's good effort though. And that was with award contract to South Vincent Petroleum for a 5-year contract. Motion made to bring it for the full board. May I have a motion? Tony, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor, aye. And resolution 3E. Julius made a motion for the facility bathroom renovations. And that was the title on my resolution, Julius. Motion was made to award contract to Bellows Construction Specialties LLC for $677,000 odd. Motion was made to bring it to the full board. May I have a motion, Julius? Second, Julius. All in favor? Second, Darlene. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Now, that concludes audit and finance. Darlene.
Okay, we had a great meeting this morning. Susanna has two resolutions that we need to forward to the board for a motion to approve. Do I have a motion?
Our first motion was for the record retention schedule. Motion was made to bring to the full board. May I have a motion? Luella, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And also, I thought the board was quite impressed with the work that the team did on the mission, vision, and value statements. Motion made to bring to the board. May I have a motion? Julia, second. Luella, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
I gotta drink a little water here right now. Okay. Any old business? No. Any new business? Julie?
It's not new business, but, you know, on my 300 block of Kennedy, they're doing a lot of upgrades and stuff like that, and we have a lot of new people moving in. And also, we just found a sidewalk which is dated, 1924, so we're trying to, in the process, get the new community to come have this part of the upgrade of the community and stuff like that, so that's gonna be,
You're sitting right next to the right guy.
yeah.
No, the other side.
Tony's
not that old. Tony's managing the bathrooms, Neil's about it. Okay. Okay, very good.
This is a young me, you know, sitting like.
Okay, at this point, get a motion for executive session to convene advice of council and to discuss a personal matter involving specific employees. May I have a motion? Well, a second, Robert. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Chris will stay, Jackie?
Jackie just stepped out, but.
Okay. You want the presence?
Yeah, the VP is
Okay, we're coming out of executive session. There's a resolution that is in front of the board. The resolution supporting Cortland County joining the Central New York Regional Transportation Authority. Whereas the enabling legislation that establishes that the Central New York Regionalization Transportation Authority created a Central New York Regional Transportation District, including Onondaga County and 6 nearby counties, one of which is Cortland County. That falls under New York Public Authorities Law 1327, whereas the enabling legislation provides that counties within the Central New York Regional Transportation District, including Cortland County, may elect to become members of their governing bodies. Whereas the enabling legislation further provides that each county electing to become a participating member may do so by resolution adoption by a majority of the membership of its governing body, and such election by a county shall take effect upon the filing of a duly certified copy of such resolution with authority and with the Secretary of State, and the mailing of a certified copy thereof to the county clerk of each county which is granted the power of election under provisions of this act. Whereas on August 22nd, 2024, the Cortland County Legislature passed a resolution enacting to become a participating member of the Central New York Regional Transportation Authority, that the resolution is in the process of being filed and mailed is required by enabling legislation. Whereas the enabling legislation does not impose any specific obligation on the Central New York Regional Transportation Authority Board of Members in order to approve a county becoming a participating member in the Central New York Regional Transportation Authority. However, CNY RTA will need to take various actions in connections with the Cortland counties joining the CNY RTA, including but not limited to obtaining funding, creating legal entities, acquiring property, and planning for conducting operations in Cortland County. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Members of CNR, the Central New York Regional Transportation Authority Board hereby acknowledges and approves of Cortland County joining the CNY RTA. The Board authorizes the Deputy Chief Executive Officer and CNY RTA staff to take all necessary action to execute all necessary documents to effectuate Cortland County's joining the CNY RTA, to seek funding for operations in Cortland County, and to plan for the conduct of such operations in a manner that does not diminish in any way the services already provided by CNY RTA in other participating counties. Summarized here in my words, this is basically the resolution formalizing our relationship now with Cortland County. May I have a motion? Robert, second. Luella? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Welcome, Cortland. Thank you. No other business at hand. We are adjourned.